Hey everyone, today I'm going to go through my typical process of arranging a song on the OP-1 once I have already laid down the audio onto the individual tape tracks on the digital tape reel. The song I'm going to demonstrate with is one of my favorite jams I posted to Instagram this year for January 2021, and it was one of the more well-received tracks too. A lot of people seem to like it and interact with that post, so I thought it would be a fun one to delve into. This particular track is kind of like a quick hyper glitch pop jam. I don't know if that's a genre. Those are the best words that I can come up with to describe it right now. So it is what it is. So this particular piece features some drums right from the OP-1 sequenced to the tape track from the finger sequencer. And then on top of that, I have some samples that I ran through my modular, processed them through Morphogene, and put them back into the OP-1 just through the direct line in. I am going to spend a good amount of time letting you listen to the different tracks and how they sort of interplay with each other and interact in different permutations as I kind of built the piece up. It's just an 8-bar loop, but that said, I put a lot of focus on trying to make sure that there was some development throughout those quick 8 bars, and you can hear how the sound kind of expands and contracts as the cycle repeats and continues. We're going to end everything with a jam for a couple of minutes. If you feel so inclined to skip ahead to that part, I'll break up the chapters in the timeline below, so feel free to skip ahead to that. But that said, I think you should hang around for the whole show, just because I think there's a lot to be learned in my more educational, verbose babbling portion. So hopefully you enjoy listening to my perspective and how I like to kind of arrange these tracks once all of my audio is laid down. Anyways, I'll wrap up here. Let's spin around to the desk and get started. Okay, so here we have our mixer, and to start, I'm gonna play you through each of the individual parts. I have everything laid down on the 4 tape tracks as I mentioned, so we'll just listen to the parts individually and kind of see how they interact. So I have my drums, my main drum part on track 4. Let's take a listen to how that sounds. Just a little tiny bit of reverb too. So you can see it's kind of filtered, and then halfway through it opens up. And I did that with the nitro filter. Track 3, all that's laid down is this tiny little percussive shaker and metallic clank sound, so you can hear how that interacts with the main drums on track 4. And that only happens at the end of the pattern. So this is an 8-bar loop, and it's not really going to totally glue together until I start bringing in the bass synth line, which I manually play over top of everything. I didn't lay it down to a particular track because I wanted it to kind of have this ethereal floatiness until the bass line comes in. Everything is kind of scattered about, sounding pretty frantic, and then the bass line comes in and glues it all together. So back to the mixer. I'm going to show you the sort of main glitchy synth part that comes in on the right side of the stereo field, assuming that I have my left and right outputs hooked up correctly in my interface. I typically don't really pay attention to which way things are panned. Okay, so I mixed them up. So it says it's going to be on the right, but it's actually going to be playing on the left. So just a disclaimer. Hope that's not too big of a deal for you. I have another shaker part in there. And I'll show you how that interplays with the shaker that's on track 3. So I thought that was pretty cool. Just a little panned shaker effect, a kind of a syncopated rhythm. And the main sound that you're hearing from track 2 is actually from, it's a synth part that I took on the OP-1 that I ran through my modular system, primarily processed it with the make noise morphogene and just cranked up the morph knob so you have a lot of pitched up octaves and overlapping layers. And I filtered that through my Three Sisters filter module and recorded it back into the OP-1 directly onto the tape track. And now with track 3, you can really hear how it opens up after the first 4 bars of the pattern. So you have the filter opening up on the primary drum track, and you also have that syncopated shaker rhythm that occurs across tracks 2 and 3 that kind of help open up the end of the loop. And now I will play you track 1. This is also a synth from the OP-1 processed through the Morphogene and some other modules. I wish I could remember which synth I used on the OP-1. It might have been a sample that I pulled somewhere free from the internet, or it could have been a stock sound. I apologize for not remembering, but here's what it sounds like all mangled by my modular system. And you can hear there's some hi-hat sounds at the beginning, and then an open cymbal, a ride cymbal at the back half of the pattern to, again, just stay consistent with trying to open it up. So I'm going to play you that in combination with the shaker part on track 3, and then I'll play it for you with the synth part on track 2. And then everything but the drums. Okay, so like I said, super ethereal. And to be honest, it's super ethereal even with the drums. I'll just play that for you. So I hope you can hear how everything is kind of like intentionally overlapping and interplaying rhythmically and texturally, where it's kind of a little bit closed off in the beginning and then really opens up at the end. So let me make sure I have my right synth, the cluster synth. And I play this on track 4 because it's panned dead center. It's the only track that's centered, and I didn't want to pan the bass synth because, like I said, it really glues everything together. And I'm going to show you the bass synth part just with the drums so you can hear how the OP-1's compression. So as you can see, I have the release super low and the drive cranked pretty high. And I kind of talk about my preferences and methods of this choice in another video. There will be like a little link or a card somewhere popping up so you can go watch that if you want to hear more about why I use these settings. But anyways, I'll show you how the bass synth interacts with the drum parts. So I'll play the drum part. I'll play the drum part through once, and then I'll add the bass synth on top and listen to how especially the kick, how it kind of compresses and interacts once the low end from the bass synth comes in. And now I'll show you how everything sounds with the bass synth on top. I'm just going to play the pattern through once without the bass synth, and then I'll play it through with the bass synth, and then we'll just hop right into a jam. I'll kind of like mess around with bringing tracks in and out and how I would build the piece kind of in a performance setting. But first, I'll just show you the bass synth on top of everything. Okay, cool. So let's just play around with everything. Yeah, let's have some fun. Okay. Okay, got a little bit unexpectedly weird at the end, but I think that was super cool. So yeah, thanks for stopping by today, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Take care.